Ever feel like you're just one tiny cog in a giant, indifferent machine? What if your individual choices, your seemingly insignificant acts of rebellion, could actually ignite a fire that changes everything? Prepare to have your perspective shifted, because this story will make you question the very fabric of control and the power of the human spirit. Winston's Whispers of Rebellion. The stale air of Victory Mansions clung to Winston like the ever-present telescreen's gaze. Every corner of his life was meticulously monitored, every thought potentially a crime. In this world, where history was rewritten daily to serve the party's agenda, and where even a fleeting moment of independent thought could lead to vaporization, Winston felt a gnawing emptiness. His existence was a monotonous cycle of work, synthetic food, and mandatory 2 minutes hate sessions designed to channel collective fury towards the invented enemy, Goldstein. But beneath the surface of his compliance, a dangerous seed had begun to sprout, the desire to remember, to understand the truth that the party so desperately tried to erase. He found solace and a spark of defiance in a hidden corner of his dingy apartment, where he began to keep a diary, a forbidden act in itself. The smooth, creamy paper was a tactile pleasure in a world of coarse, utilitarian materials. And the act of putting pen to paper felt like a small, yet significant act of reclaiming his own mind. He wrote about the past, the real past as he dimly remembered it, before the party's iron grip had tightened around every aspect of life. These clandestine entries were his whispers of rebellion against the deafening roar of the party's propaganda. His work at the Ministry of Truth, ironically, fueled his dissent. His job was to rewrite old news articles to align with the party's current pronouncements, to make inconvenient facts disappear down the memory hole. It was a constant exercise in manufactured reality, and the more he manipulated the past, the more acutely he felt the hollowness of the present. He saw how easily people accepted the party's lies, their minds dulled by fear and relentless indoctrination. But he also sensed a flicker of something else, a latent skepticism that occasionally surfaced in hushed conversations and fleeting glances. It was in this environment of controlled information that Winston encountered O'Brien, an inner party member whom Winston inexplicably felt he could trust, a dangerous intuition in a world where loyalty was only ever directed towards Big Brother. O'Brien seemed to possess a subtle understanding, a weariness that hinted at a similar disillusionment with the party's ideology. These brief encounters, filled with unspoken understanding, offered Winston a fragile hope that he was not alone in his dissent. His yearning for connection and authenticity led him to Julia, a young woman who, on the surface, appeared to be a devoted member of the Junior Anti-Sex League. Their initial interactions were cautious, veiled in the necessary conformity of their society. But a shared glance, a stolen moment of conversation in a crowded corridor, hinted at a mutual rebellion simmering beneath the surface. Their clandestine meetings in the countryside, away from the ever-watchful eyes of the telescreens, became precious pockets of freedom. In Julia's arms, Winston found not only physical intimacy, but also a sense of shared humanity, a defiant affirmation of the natural instincts the party sought to suppress. Their love affair was an act of rebellion in itself, a private declaration of independence against a regime that sought to control even the most personal aspects of its citizens' lives. Julia, pragmatic and focused on immediate pleasures, offered Winston a different kind of resistance, one rooted in the simple act of living and enjoying the forbidden moments. She was less concerned with grand ideological ideals and more with the tangible acts of defiance, the small victories against the party's control. Their fragile sanctuary was eventually shattered. Betrayed by the very room they believed to be their haven, they were captured by the thought police. Winston found himself in the dreaded Ministry of Love, a place where the party's ultimate goal was not just to punish dissent, but to eradicate it from the very core of a person's being. He endured relentless interrogation, physical torture, and psychological manipulation, all designed to break his spirit and force him to embrace the party's reality. O'Brien, his perceived confidant, became his chief tormentor, patiently and methodically dismantling Winston's every belief. The process was agonizing, a slow stripping away of his identity, his memories, his very sense of self. He was forced to confront his deepest fears, his vulnerabilities exploited with chilling precision. The party understood that true power lay not just in controlling actions, but in controlling thoughts. Their aim was not mere obedience, but genuine belief in their ideology. The culmination of Winston's ordeal came in Room 101, where individuals were confronted with their greatest fear. For Winston, it was rats. The party, in its chilling understanding of human psychology, used this primal fear to finally break him. Faced with the unspeakable horror of having his face caged with ravenous rats, Winston's last vestige of resistance crumbled. In that moment of ultimate terror, he betrayed Julia, the one person he had dared to love, crying out, "Do it to Julia! Do it to Julia, not me!" This betrayal was the party's ultimate victory, the complete annihilation of his individual spirit. Released back into the world, Winston was a shell of his former self. His love for Julia was gone, replaced by a hollow indifference. He sat in the Chestnut Tree Cafe, the haunt of former party dissidents, now a place where broken men nursed their watered-down gin and their shattered illusions. He looked up at the telescreen, and for the first time, he truly loved Big Brother. The party had achieved its ultimate goal, not just obedience, but genuine, heartfelt devotion. Winston's whispers of rebellion had been silenced, his individual spirit crushed under the weight of the party's absolute power. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of freedom and the insidious nature of totalitarian control.